listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Are you ready for this? Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Wednesday, August the 19th, 2015, and welcome to the BCS Experience. History, arts, culture, and politics in review and discussion. I'm Byron C. Saunders, your host with the most. The BCS Experience takes a look at our rich history, African American history. Now see, we're going to share with you some known and unknown historical facts and information from the past, and connect the dots on how they will impact on our present day events and how they will definitely shape our future as African Americans in this country and around the world. The BCS Experience, history, arts, culture, politics in review and discussion. This is internet radio and will be aired live every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. from the studios of the Iron Metropolis Images on the GoPro Radio Network. You see, I'm really excited about this opportunity to talk to you all across the country and around the globe. I want you to tune in on every week on your computer or your phone. I want you to become a loyal listener, and I personally invite you to lend your voices to this radio talk show to express your opinions on my weekly topics. This is social network radio at its finest. Now here's the number for you to call in to be part of the discussion. Call 347-884-9839. Once again, that number to call is 347-884-9839. This week's topic, a discussion about the civil rights movement and some upfront and personal reflections and stories about the lives of civil rights icons Julian Bond, Fannie Lou Hamer, John Lewis, Hosea Williams, and Lawrence Guyout, as remembered by their close friends Sean Turner, Francois Craig, and many, many more. You see, we lost a friend last week, Julian Bond. I knew him personally. We lost a giant in the civil rights movement, but a giant to be remembered, and something extra special. Hey, my show is the new Underground Railroad Express. Next stop in your neighborhood. All aboard to freedom and to Freedom Land. But before we get started, because this is a very special GoPro event, we'll talk about that in a second. But let's give you a little bit of history so we can frame all of this and how it fits in with GoPro Radio, Black Radio, the BCS Experience, and the Civil Rights Movement. Here's the history. It's Saturday. It's October the 6th. It's 1917. You see, Fannie Lou Hamer was born on this date in 1917. She was an African-American civil rights activist, born Fannie Lou Townsend in Montgomery County, Mississippi. She was the last of 20 children in a family of sharecroppers. She began chopping and picking cotton as a child on a plantation in the Mississippi Delta. She lived and worked there until 1962, when she was fired because she attempted to register to vote. She and her family were also forced to move from the plantation. In 1963, Hamer did register to vote and committed herself to civil rights activism. She began working for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, known as SNCC, organizing voter registration campaigns in the Mississippi Delta. In 1964, white members of the Democratic Party in Mississippi continued the tradition of refusing to accept blacks in their delegation to the National Party Convention. Hamer and others formed the Mississippi Freedom Democrats Party. The Mississippi Freedom Democrats Party sent 68 delegates to the National Convention to challenge the white Democrats' right to represent Mississippi. Hamer recounted for the convention the harassment that she and other blacks experienced while trying to register to vote in Mississippi in a nationally televised interview about her experiences with police brutality. Democratic Party officials offered the black Mississippians 2 convention seats. Hamer and the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, however, rejected the compromise offer and went home. The challenge resulted in a pledge from the Democratic Party not to seat any delegate to the 1968 National Convention who had been chosen through racially discriminatory means. It also made Hamer a national celebrity. After 1964, Hamer continued to work for black voting rights and black candidates for public office in Mississippi. She also founded social service organizations and initiated economic development efforts, including the Freedom Farms Corporation, established in 1969 to help poor families raise food and livestock. Hamer became a national figure in 1964 with a speech to the Democratic National Convention in which she recounted the voter demonstration and violence against blacks in her home state of Mississippi. She became a national symbol of the participation of poor Southern blacks in the civil rights movement. Fannie Lou Hamer died on March 14, 1977. Wow. She's famous for her quote, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." Fannie Lou Hamer. All right, that's quite a start for a show this featuring some of the personal stories about some of our most famous civil rights icon. But tonight's really special because joining me this evening, see, this is GoPro Radio's first ever on-air fundraising drive where you get a chance, you, the listener, the sponsors, to sponsor and support the fastest growing network in the galaxy. Now find out how your support helps to keep black radio alive and kicking. And I gotta start it off. I gotta invite I got a phone caller. I'm gonna bring you in. Welcome to the BCS Experience. Who's on the air with me? Francois, how are you, my friend?
Very good.
All right. You got a little background noise there. Somebody trying to contact you?
No, I got them straight. They gone.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Francois, I want you to hold on because you know some personal stories and you have a personal involvement with the Fannie Lou Hamer story. You knew John Lewis very well. Your friend just passed away. Both of our friends, and Julian Bond. Personal stories. You were a personal friend of Julian Bond's. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But I'm going to bring my producer in, Tylon Eusevier Washington. Tylon, will you join me here in the booth here so we can talk about the importance of being able to raise funding support for GoPro Radio. You know, Francois, it takes money to do good work like this. It takes money to keep black radio on the air. And it takes a producer with vision, someone who really understands the dynamics of GoPro radio, the dynamics of black radio. I mean, the brother is fierce. He's better known as Eusevier, Tylon Eusevier Washington, my producer, who is also the writer and film director for Disappearing Voices, the decline of black radio. So my good brother, welcome to the BCS Experience. It's rare when I get a chance to get the producer on my show.
How about that?
I'm loving it.
Share the mic.
We're gonna. There you go. Yes, your mic is on. All right. You have to do a mic check before you go on the air. Okay. All right. We're gonna get all this cleared away.
Good.
Now, Tylon,
yes.
You started GoPro Radio.
Right.
Now, tell us the importance of GoPro Radio, because it's just not an opportunity for us to interact with the galaxy, as we say, but it's ongoing representation of what black radio is all about.
Right, absolutely. I think, we can get frustrated all we want about how we're underrepresented.
Yes.
In terms of the fake stream media
Yes.
machine. But we have tremendous opportunity, and we're not without tools and resources that we can put together. And that's why I started GoPro Radio. I did not like the representation, and certainly we have enough to complain about it. I don't think that we ought not to complain, but
Right.
Beyond complaining, we need to actually act. And GoPro was a form of that. I actually pointed out the fact that there's just a dearth of, black representation on terrestrial radio. And my film called Disappearing Voices, The Decline of Black Radio. And this is my answer to it. GoPro is my response to the lack of representation of black folks on terrestrial radio, so I took to the internet.
So how many years has GoPro been on the air actually now?
Well, actually, as GoPro LLC, we've been just over a year.
Okay.
But in terms of a beta, because I definitely believe we have to develop the recipe. Once you have the recipe, you can always eat. So, we've been cooking and smoking for, I think, about 3 years. And
This is my fourth year being on with my show.
That's right.
So I came in right
at
came in right at the ground floor.
Absolutely.
And it's been on.
You have been the longest running program on our network. And I'm telling you, your show is just fantastic. It is like a curriculum. I think, the professors and teachers from, elementary school, junior high school, and colleges ought to have their students just tune into your show and really get an education in terms of the history, the rich history and contributions of black people, not just in this country, but all over the world, and before we were enslaved.
Right.
So and that's what's so excellent about your show.
Now, before we go to the break, we got a few minutes before we go to the 5:15 break. This is GoPro Radio's first ever fundraising effort. So let's talk about that. Let's prep folks so that they understand why we're doing a show like this. I'm giving you tonight the premium best of the BCS Experience showcase, where we can talk about some of the historic icons and present ones who, like Julian Bond, we just left, and show you why this show, the BCS Experience, and GoPro Radio are very important to keep alive.
Right. Our legacy is a collection of all of our stories, and I think that in terms of immortalizing our stories, we need the nexus, we need the platforms, and GoPro is that platform. So we're so glad just to have you on this network. I really appreciate your friendship, your loyalty, your professionalism. A lot of people don't know how hard you work to produce this show that happens in an hour. You really do a lot of research, and I wish folks could see the emails that we get all during the week, pages and pages of script, rewrites, and just wonderful links and just morsels of just rare information and knowledge that you're just not going to find anywhere else. So today we have a very, very special premium for folks who call in. Anyone who makes a donation from $10 to $100, they're going to get 10 GoPro stickers, and these stickers are really, really terrific.
Absolutely.
You get a packet of these little stickers. They're so cute. If you have young ones going to school or whatever, it'd be great to go on their notebooks and their folders, because we have a wonderful design of Mr. GoProto right here.
Oh yeah.
And it's really, really terrific. It has our logo on it as well, and it's kid friendly. GoPro looks really, really adorable. It's done by Norm Cutson, who does work with the cover girl, what's the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, really? Okay. So we got a very good
nice
designer.
design. Absolutely.
Right. And what else do they get?
Oh, well, they get 100 stickers if they want to make a donation anywhere between $10 and $100. Now, if you want to offer a donation between $100 to $200, you're going to get a lot more. You're going to get a free autographed copy of Disappearing Voices, The Decline of Black Radio.
Yes.
That's this
That's
movie.
this
It's
movie
rare.
here.
You cannot get this film anywhere else. You can't get it on Netflix. You can't get it on YouTube. So in order to get this film that's just rich with so much information, going back to WURD, Jack the Rapper, Frankie Crocker, to all the really, really outstanding personalities like Byron.
Well, all right. Well, we got to take a break here.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we're going to punch it up with a little bit more history. We're going to talk about you as a listener sponsor, how you can get involved, and how to make your donation. That's very important. And we're going to hear from my good friend Francois Craig, because we're going to talk about Julian Bond. Right. And do you know that Francois was also at James Brown's funeral? So we're getting ready to get some true first-person history from one of my dearest and best friends, but someone who's also been familiar with and friends with some of the largest civil rights icons in the history.
Wow, I can't wait.
All right, so don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. Stay tuned on to the BCS Experience right here on GoPro Radio.
The fastest growing network in the galaxy.
Hello.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, service, talent, or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 212-696-8562 or visit www.goproradio.com and you'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your very own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. Why are you paying for radio? Are you serious? GoPro Radio offers content for free. Go to www.goproradio.com and listen to original, irreverent, and exceptional talk shows. It's free. Go to www.goproradio.com now. It's that simple and free. www.goproradio.com. Listen to the voices in your head. Oh.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
All right, already we're back on the BCS Experience, and you see to my left, on your right on the camera there, is my dear producer friend, Mr. Tylon Xavier Washington. We're talking about civil rights icons, personal friends, stories about some of the folks who recently passed away. Some are still alive. You know, we lost Julian Bond last week. He was a personal friend, someone who really helped support my efforts. And we have a good friend on the phone, Francois Craig, who was also a dear friend, very close friend to Julian Bond, as well as to John Lewis. He worked at the King Center. Not only that, Tylon, Francois is a world-class Shakespearean actor.
Wow.
Francois, you're back on the air.
Yes,
how are you, my brother?
Nice to meet you.
I am wonderful.
And Francois,
Virtually.
you've been on my show several times because of the fact that you've done so much, not only just in the entertainment industry, but also as a civil rights volunteer, civil rights worker. Tell us a little bit about that and the relationship that you had with Julian and John Lewis and other, you were a personal friend of also Coretta Scott King.
Wow.
Yes.
So tell us how your relationship and how did you get involved with the civil rights movement and these amazing civil rights icons?
Well, Byron, being born in the South, and especially if you were born in the South before 1960, you were automatically put in the civil rights if you wanted to be in it or not. But, you know, having parents who were very advocates for the civil rights program and then joined, as we did, and joined the NAACP, because we all had to have a membership card. And then my uncle was the president of the NAACP chapter in North Carolina. So we all had to have an NAACP card. Then from there, another good friend of mine, he had to have his dad was the president of the chapter in Raleigh. His name was Bill Campbell, and who was the mayor of Atlanta, and also. So we all come up out of that group. And then coming in 1973, I was a newspaper reporter for the military, and I was covering a story on a young man named Julian Bond. And he was out speaking at the University of Arizona, speaking on new politics. And from that day, Julian had come to Tucson because the first black female judge, her name was Judge Jean Williams. I'll never forget this lady. She was the first black federal female judge ever in the country. And Julian Bond had come out to celebrate her and to speak on new politics. At the same time, they had Princess Pale Moon from Oklahoma, who was the princess. We all headed out, after the speaking engagement, we all headed out to the Indian Reservation. That's where Julian and I took off. And many years later after that, working with Ron Dellum's answered a letter of mine and solved some issues for me while I was in the military. Then I got connected with Dick Gregory, and Dick Gregory became a very good friend of mine. We became very good, close buddies. And then after moving to Atlanta, running into you, Byron, and Hosea Williams, you know, whom you lived with.
Right.
You know, and Hosea Williams was one of Martin Luther King's right-hand man.
That's right.
And then, you know, and as you mentioned, Fannie Lou Hamer and Julian Bond were a part of SNCC. They were the ones with Dr. King. They created SNCC. They are the founders of SNCC.
There you go.
And, you know, and to much of the demise, a lot of people don't know. And if you really don't know about Julian Bond, I just want to get this point across. As he is gone and as he has left us, Julian Bond, had he not been cheated out of the election with John Lewis at that time, because Julian was cheated out of that election because the party felt that Julian was been too radical for the Democratic Party, and they wanted someone who was a little less soft-spoken, who could tap dance a little bit better, and they selected John Lewis. And it became a big rivalry between the two of them.
That's right.
And as that election evolved, you know, there was some, you know, here's two guys who didn't speak to each other because Julian know he got cheated out of that election.
Yes.
Now, I just wanted to prophesize one thing. If Julian had been selected in that process, there would not be no Barack Obama. There would have been a Julian Bond. Because Barack Obama today, even to whom I work for, guess what? Could not touch Julian Bond.
Julian was brilliant. Literally. I mean, and I was in Atlanta at that time when all of this was going down. And that, because to understand the importance of Julian Bond, who, like Francois was saying, he and Fannie Lou Hamer and John Lewis and Lawrence Guyout started SNCC.
Wow.
These were the young Turks who were the militant wing for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
For folks who don't know what SNCC is, can you tell us what the acronym?
Southern is the SNCC is the Southern. What is the acronym? Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. That's right. Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which was the militant side of SCLC. So that when you had the name,
What was the SCLC?
Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
There you go.
So you had both of these elements together, and when you watch the movie Selma, you're actually watching how SCLC and SNCC came together to help create that Selma movie, so that when you see John Lewis and Hosea Williams leading that march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge on Bloody Sunday, that was SNCC and SCLC coming together in one purpose.
Exactly.
And that's what people have to understand. You see, this was not just a happening or a happenstance.
Right.
They planned this.
Right.
And there's a scene in the movie of Selma where Martin Luther King asked John Lewis, he says, "You've been here longer than I've been here in Selma." And he's talking about Bull Connor and what a mean son of a that he was.
Wow.
With treatment of the people in Alabama. So it was a lot that we didn't get historically, but when you have folks like Francois who can tell you firsthand information, this is what living history is all about.
Wow.
This is why my show, the BCS Experience on the GoPro Radio Network, is important, documenting history that you don't get in school, you don't get it in even college, you're not getting it in public school, unless you're getting an opportunity to do the research, to own a copy of Disappearing Voices, The Decline of Black Radio, you don't even get the idea, the concept of how black radio has been able to sustain itself.
That's right.
Okay? So here's another piece of history. James Brown. Francois was at the funeral for James Brown, sitting right behind Michael Jackson.
Wow.
I mean, and literally, here's an individual. You don't read his name in the book unless you come and listen to him on GoPro Radio.
That's right.
And Francois Craig.
Through the BCS Experience.
And so Francois, being a loyal listener and a loyal patron, Francois is, and we're going to show you how to do this, folks. How do you make a pledge? How do you support GoPro Radio? And my good friend, Francois Craig, tell them what you're going to do for today so we can get folks to understand.
I got my 50 ready, and I'm challenging anybody else.
Look at that, 50. Ching Ching was at the sound effects of some money.
That's right. He's making a pledge. That's right. He's making a pledge.
I'm challenging everyone. See, we can play the lottery.
That's right.
We can go buy cigarettes. We can go buy a drink. We can go buy all that unnecessary stuff.
That's right.
But what is more important is the GoPro, because we can't go pro unless we support the GoPro.
Hello.
That's all right.
We can go no by buying that other stuff, but we going pro by supporting pro. See, that's the important in the rich history that you bring on, and all the eloquent speakers in the past. A man that has no knowledge of himself is like a tree with no roots. And this is what GoPro gives us, is the roots, the foundation, as Stephen Covey says. We must have a foundation, as God said. So therefore, in that foundation, this is what GoPro gives us, and we need to give back to GoPro. And I got my 50. Anybody want to challenge me out there?
That's right. Come on. He's challenging you now. Now, Tylon, tell him how to go. How does one make a pledge and support? What do you do?
Well, it's fast, it's easy, and it's secure. You can go right to PayPal.com, and you can send the money via PayPal by sending it to payment, PAYMENT, at GoProRadio.com. That's it.
And you actually, if you go online to GoProRadio.com,
there's a donation button.
There's a donation button, and it leads you directly to the PayPal. It's so easy to do. And here's one more thing you do when you make your pledge. When you click it on to say, ready to pay, there's one little box there that says to identify your pledge.
Right.
Tell them you wanted to go to the BCS Experience. So that's how it's done, folks.
I think some people probably listen to know. And if you want to call it tithing, tithe then.
Tithe then. That's right.
Because, because I know it's a lot of you who read that scripture out there. God says he's like a cheerful giver.
Amen.
He gives it back to you. He gives it back to you. So what you're giving, you don't give back. So, and you do that with expectancy. So give, because it's coming back to you. You ain't doing nothing but helping along. If you're taking an investment, then go pro. Go pro, y'all.
All right.
And let me say this real quick. Knowledge is a gift that keeps on giving.
Amen. That's right. And there's so much more that I have to share with you on the BCS Experience, because the history has been written every single day. And unless we have folks like Francois who can share personal stories, You would never read about this stuff in a history book. He's giving you first-person information.
That's right.
So I got another caller on, and let's bring that caller in because I want to make sure who this is. Good evening. Welcome to the BCS Experience. Who's on the line with us?
Hi, this is Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Queens, New York, but listen, I really don't have a lot of time. I just wanted to make a contribution to your radio station.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you so much.
Go right to GoProRadio.com and you can punch in your donation. And thank you for that loyal support. You're showing the love. We show the love right back at you.
We appreciate it. We really
All right,
do.
Jackie. God bless you.
All right, and have good luck. Good luck to you on this adventure.
Thank you so very much.
Go, Jackie. Go, Jackie. Go.
I got to take a break here, but when we come back, I'm going to give you some more history so that you can understand why this is important and how it fits in with GoPro Radio and DisappearingVoices.com. All right, we're listening to the BCS Experience on the GoPro Radio Network. We'll be right back after these very important words.
Listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
We are an amazing people. Rooted in Africa, the cradle of human civilization. Descendant of the awesome men and women who made a way out of no way. People steeped in the values of truth, justice, respect, harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order. But 400 years of enslavement, Jim Crow, and racism, fueled by the lie of black inferiority, have taken their toll. The result? Too much pain, too much hurt, too much loss. We owe our ancestors, ourselves, and our children so much more than this. Join the movement for emotional emancipation, healing, and wellness for Black people. Go to communityhealingnet.org and take the pledge to defy the lie and embrace the truth. That's communityhealingnet.org. Our children and our ancestors are waiting.
What if you can have an entire team of skilled professionals to help your business grow? Admin, accounts, marketing, and more, but only pay for the exact amount of support you need at virtually the same cost you'd pay for one full-time employee. With Virtual Professions, you can. One contact, one number gets you a team of virtual professionals for exactly what your business needs. It's 1-888-315-VPRO. That's 1-888-315-8776. Or online at www.virtualprofessions.net. Virtual Professions Incorporated, because you mean business.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Well, all right now. You're listening to the BCS Experience on the GoPro Radio Network. And I'm Byron C. Saunders, your host with the most. Standing by next to me is the producer of GoPro Radio, Iron Metropolis Images. We are so lucky to have a brilliant mastermind that is orchestrating all of this with us. And that's Tylon Usavier Washington, our producer for GoPro Radio. Tylon, thank you so much for bringing this to us. We've got Jackie, who just made a pledge. Thank you, Jackie. Francois, who's challenging a $50 challenge. He's making a pledge. This is how you keep your listener-sponsored radio going and alive. It takes money to do good stuff like this.
Absolutely.
And my show is not expensive, folks, but it's only $150 a month. But do you know how much effort is going into bringing you this kind of show? Like Tylon says, I script my show out every week. Tylon, did you know that every week when I upload my information to the Facebook groups that I belong to, I am uploading to over 750,000 people
Wow.
every single week.
Wow.
And then I do an
that's
email
great.
blast to almost 2,000, almost 3,000 people, personal email blast. And I'm sending it out and making sure that we build an audience the right way.
Right.
And do you know, you do know this because you gave me this information, that there's over 119 million people who listen to online radio weekly.
That's right.
119 million. And if we could just get 2% of that.
1%.
1%. We could keep this radio station alive for about 3 or 4 years.
That's right. Easy.
Very easy. So you see, folks, and guess where we learned this from? This grassroots campaign concept comes from the person who you elected as president, the first African American president, because he showed us how that $3 campaign could beat the 1%. He not only did it once, that was a revolution, getting Barack Obama elected president. But the second time around, he beat the 1% billionaire club who was trying to buy our election, and that $3 campaign, once again, grassroots. And that's what we're doing here for GoPro Radio. This is a grassroots campaign. Guess what? Corporate America is not giving us diddly. They have reduced their funding to just about every arts organization all across America. But guess who are the VIPs? It's not the corporate America. It's not the 1%. It's you, our valued listeners, those who tune in every week to listen to the BCS Experience. So just think about this. I think my numbers are over 10,000 a month.
Easy.
So that if those who are really listening to my show, so if you sent in just
you've
$3,
reached, in June, 36,102 unique users. And let me tell you, those numbers are modest because the way we track viewers is very different than Arbitron or Nielsen. They go by the IP address, and so that means that if someone has a Bluetooth in their car and there's 5 people in the car, or 4 or 3, you're only getting credit for that one listener,
right?
One listener. Or if a professor is, utilizing your content. Yes. So those numbers are extremely modest and extremely low.
So 36,000 in the month of June is what I had. And if I had y'all give just $2,
there you go.
My show would be paid for the entire year.
A couple of years.
So see, folks, it's really, and we're talking about ways in which you can get your name out here as a sponsor, because we will thank you on the air. You can also become, you can buy ads to help support my show, and ultimately we'll give you commercial time. It's so much cheaper than broadband radio.
Absolutely. Terrestrial radio, you can't even talk about how much they charge per minute. What we offer too is if you make a generous donation today of $500 to $1,000, you're going to get not only the stickers, an autograph DVD of Disappearing Voices, The Decline of Black Radio, but you're also going to get this wonderful T-shirt.
Oh yeah,
it's
got to represent.
Off Air.
Yes, sir.
And also it comes in a burlap bag. Also a button that says Off Air with the Disappearing Voices website on it. And where were you when the signal faded? We have from small to 2X large in stock right now.
That's right.
If you make a generous donation, you will get all of that wonderful swag and a 6-month sponsorship package.
Can we give Francois something special for being the first?
Absolutely.
Francois,
Absolutely.
I'm hooking you up, brother.
Yes, sir.
That's right, because you made the challenge. I'm hooking you up. We're going to send you a gift package. I don't know what is going to be in that gift box, but I do know it's going to be some nice
swag.
Nice swag for you to represent. Okay?
Okay.
Make sure we get your size.
Needs to support this program.
That's right.
This program is so important. I just talked to Dr. Bruce Stewart, who works for the President in the Diversity, and he's going to come on your program.
All right.
Wow.
See
that?
Francois
really
is always representing. I'm telling you. Fran, you the brother. You are my brother, my brother. Okay.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
And Francois,
it means a lot.
Here's another piece of history. I got to share the history because this is how we're working this show. The date, it's January the 5th. The year, it's a Tuesday. Right. It's 1926. Did you know on this date, Hosea Williams was born in 1926, and he was an African-American civil rights activist. Williams was the son of blind black parents from Attapulgis, Georgia. Have you ever been to Attapulgos,
Wow.
Georgia? Okay, after
No,
and that's down there by Savannah. Okay, now after
Okay.
studying at Morris Brown College and Atlanta University,
Right.
he found employment as a research chemist
Wow.
for the U.S. Department of
exactly.
Agriculture. So you're talking about
Right.
it's like when Christ went to pick his 12, he went and picked diverse elements, fishermen, taxmen. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
here, like the civil rights movement that most people don't really realize, Francois, is that there were 12 associates around Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, there was.
That's
And-
right.
And also, I want to note to you, Byron. You know, as we talked about Julian Bond hailed from the same city you came from.
Uh-huh.
He comes from Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
And he came to Morehouse.
That's right.
So a lot of great people have covered the South, and everybody didn't come from Atlanta, but we may have come to Atlanta,
Yes.
but we came from different places. As I came from North Carolina.
That's right.
You came from Nashville.
That's right.
So both united we stood, and divided we did not fall.
That's right. And so here we stand today on the backs and the shoulders of heroes and sheroes like Fannie Lou Hamer, like Reverend
That's
Hosea
right.
Williams, the bull in the china closet. He will always be remembered. And you and I, because of our relationship to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, really brought us more together, not so much in the theater business, but from the entertainment industry as well as in the civil rights movement. You and I, Francois, have walked that walk.
And Byron, and several years ago, there was a play that was written by a white guy in New York, and the play was called The Old Flames. And the play was about that march on Forsyth County
Yes.
that Hosea Williams orchestrated,
Yes.
and where Oprah Winfrey went down and filmed that about black folks not living in Forsyth County for over 100 years. Well, I directed that play, Old Flames. And believe me, and in that play at the 14th Street Playhouse
That's right.
in Atlanta, Hosea Williams with the Ku Klux Klan came on my stage in my play, in the play I directed, and Hosea Williams and the Ku Klux Klan, the Grand Dragon, they sit there and they had discussion
Right.
Wow.
on stage.
That's
So,
right.
Wow.
and this was one of the last big ones that Hosea had before he left us. But believe me, Hosea Williams was right there challenging them clans, and guess what? And they enjoyed Jose, and guess what? And Jose enjoyed them because it wasn't nothing but about truth.
That's it. That's it. And you got to sit down somewhere
Power
and
true.
have that conversation, because all the shout
Exactly.
from the sidelines, those are sideline assassins. You got to come to the table
Right.
of brotherly love.
Bring
if you're
it to
going
the table.
if you're going
Right.
like the good book says, bring your problems to the altar.
And the one thing I just want to throw about those guys who are out there, they were proactive, not reactive.
That's right.
And and I look at leaders and people who call these people leaders today, which I don't find them to be leaders because they are just reactive. They're not proactive to the situation.
Right.
And whenever there's a situation, everybody want to call Al, but we need Al before the situation.
Right.
So, you got to look at what people talk about civil rights and leading. Al Sharpton was not a civil rights leader. Okay, let's get that straight. He came along with James Brown, and that was much later. But the people we knew and the people we grew up with, and those people who are some still living and some, Alley Pat just died just not
Alley
too
Pat
long
just
ago,
died,
which a
that's
lot of
right.
people may not have known him. But he was one of the first men I ever heard. And I worked in radio for 8 years and had to take the FCC test to get on the radio. And Alley Pat would call you a nigger and an MF on the radio.
He sure would.
And just before anyone in the FCC never took his license. And I said, but got the point across. And but these were first. These people were first, and they made their mark on the leadership, on the people, and looking where we are now. Again, we're going to miss Julian. I wish more people would get to know more about who he was.
Yes.
Because, let me tell you, he was the most brilliant man, the most brilliant. And if you think Barack Obama is brilliant, you know, Julian had everything. And let me tell you this, color, skin, and hair doesn't matter.
Yes.
And Julian had all that. And but also, he was a genius. He was brilliant. He was a strategist. He was diversified. Very good. I mean, he was one of the first who came out with multiculturalism.
That's right.
Talking about diversity. He was one of the first, not talking about civil rights, he was talking about human rights.
All right,
Okay.
I got to take that break right here, Francois. Hold that thought, because when we come back, and also in 1976, Julian Bond was nominated for vice president. Did you know that? That's right, at the convention.
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
see, the story has to get told, people.
Yep.
There you go. So listen, we'll be right back on the BCS Experience, because I'm going to tell you about Lawrence Guyout next. As we stay tuned right here on the GoPro Radio. We'll be right back after these very important words.
Wow, that's some information here.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, service, talent, or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 212-696-8562 or visit www.goproradio.com and you'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your very own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. Why are you paying for radio? Are you serious? GoPro Radio offers content for free. Go to www.goproradio.com and listen to original, irreverent, and exceptional talk shows. It's free. Go to www.goproradio.com now. It's that simple and free. www.goproradio.com. Listen to the voices in your head. Oh, and did I mention it's free?
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
All right. We're back on the BCS Experience. I'm here. I'm Byron C. Saunders. I got my friend who's down in Washington, D.C., Francois Craig, who's just made a pledge of $50. He's challenging you out there, folks. If you are a listener to this radio show, come on, folks. As little as $3, $5, 10, 15,
Whatever.
20. Match the pledge, that the challenge that my good friend Francois has made for $50. You can do it. You go to GoProRadio.com. Click on Donate Now. Donate. Follow the prompter. Make your pledge. And then when you make your pledge and you're ready to sign off, indicate that you want to go your pledge to go to the BCS Experience. I'm thanking all of you, my friends. Y'all have helped support me and sustain my radio show for the past 4 years on GoPro Radio. And it's a fast-growing network. And Thailand U Savior Washington has put together an awesome package to help support this independent, black-owned radio program and format. You got to help support us, folks. We're globally talking to the world, and we're talking about the civil rights icons' personal stories. Now, I started the show with talking about Fannie Lou Hamer. I can't talk about Fannie Lou Hamer without talking about Rosebud Dixon Green, my writer, my screenwriter for the film the docudrama of Fannie Lou Hamer's life, starring Liz Williams Omalani, who happens to be Hosea Williams' daughter.
What?
Yes, Pap, she will star as Fannie Lou. Her husband, Afemu Omalani, who's a very good film actor as well, will play Pap, the husband to Fannie Lou. Francois is in the project.
Wow.
He's playing a role as well. I mean, I got top A-line actors. We're talking not the grade B folks.
Yeah.
These are A-line actors who are going to be in this movie. And Fannie Lou Hamer and Rosebud Dixon Green, who's in the hospital right now rehabilitating. We're giving you a shout out. Rosebud, you got to get up out of that bed so we can get to raise the money to do that film. And by the way, our film attorney is Bill Luckett, who happens to be Morgan Freeman's business partner.
Wow.
And we give a shout out to my friend Morgan Freeman, who lost his granddaughter this week.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, with condolences to my friend Morgan and the family. But we got your support. We got your love. You see, and this is all about connecting the dots, Tylon.
Absolutely.
When we talk about all these people that are our friends, our personal friends. Now, here's another piece. Lawrence Guyout. Now, did you know that Lawrence Guyout was on the GoPro Radio BCS Experience 2 years ago, August the 8th, 2012.
Wow.
Okay.
See,
that's history right there.
That's right.
Almost 3 years ago. But he was born in Pass Christian, Mississippi, July 17th, 1939. He was one of those SNCC original people who helped to start it, worked with John Lewis, worked with Fannie Lou Hamer, worked with Julian Bond, and Lawrence Guyout. If you don't know his story, I tell you, this was a huge civil rights icon.
Tell us a little bit about it.
And he, while in school, now let's see, he went to Tougaloo College on a scholarship at age 17. And there he learned that black citizens, most of Mississippi, could not register to vote. So while in school, he became a SNCC field secretary, working throughout Mississippi on voter education and registration. He and other SNCC workers taught local people about voting, its importance, and about election law. He was jailed numerous times, beaten nearly to death, and sent to Parchman Penitentiary with other civil rights workers. Now, he directed the 1964 Freedom Summer Project in Hattiesburg and was the founding chairman of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, for which Fannie Lou Hamer was a member. But however, the delegates that he chose, they went to the convention. They were prepared to make their case as to why they represented the ideals of the Democratic Party. Although the Mississippi Freedom Delegated Party didn't unseat the regulars in 1964, never again was the delegation segregated by either race or sex seated at the Democratic National Convention. Lawrence Guyout, a man of honor. And do you know, it was Francois, it was 3 months after he was on my show that he passed the baton to me of his stories and some of the personal stories he had about Medgar Evers and Fannie Lou. And it was Lawrence Guyout who picked up Medgar Evers from the airport and brought him home.
Wow.
And that night, Medgar Evers was assassinated in his driveway. And Lawrence told this story to us on the BCS Experience. So, my friends, this is why black radio is important. Not only are we educating and documenting our history, but it's the first person stories that should be told in those history books that your children are going to start reading this year, but it's not there. How else are we going to get this information to them? You got to support and keep GoPro Radio sustained.
Right.
It's listener sponsored. That means you, the listener, helps to sponsor our shows. So, Francois.
Yes, sir.
Now, the connection that you have to Fannie Lou Hamer, because you were in that reading that was held in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, check this out. At Friendship Baptist Church for which they tore down Friendship Baptist Church to build the new Falcon Stadium. But we're talking about the place where Morris Brown College was founded. The place where, yes, all of this at Friendship Baptist Church. And we were in the sanctuary doing a reading of the Fannie Lou Hamer story. We made the history of that church.
Wow.
Along with
and
the
we did it. We did a wonderful job. And, you know, Elizabeth Omalami,
yes,
she came in, and let me tell you, and a famous who was just he's in every movie you can practice. He gets that right now. But I'll tell you.
T. Renee Crutcher was there. John Hayden was there. Maynard Eaton came. Maynard Eaton is a very famous on-air personality with, you know, in Atlanta, Georgia, and he is now the communications director for the National SCLC office. Wow. So we have, and he's a publicist for this project, for the Fannie Lou Hamer project. So Francois, you and I have been very fortunate to have been connected with some of the biggest names in the civil rights industry. You're also a personal friend of John Lewis. You helped get him elected.
Yes, worked on John's campaign after Julian was casted out.
Yeah.
Worked on John's campaign to support him and to get him there. It's so important for us not to hate on each other, but to celebrate each other, as we should be celebrating GoPro. Okay?
Yes.
See, this is what I'm talking about. It's about celebration. And you know, if you want to live, you got to give. And if you're going to give, you got to have the right spirit. And this is what GoPro is doing now. They're having wonderful people on this radio station, and I like what you guys promote. I like what you do. That's why I'm always all the way in. And and the thing about it is, this is what we call grassroots, and it hits home. So it's so important.
That's right.
And believe me, and you're doing a wonderful job. And let me tell you, this is where the movement started.
That's right.
The movement started with GoPros.
On Black
Radio. And if we
Radio.
didn't have a GoPro, we wouldn't be here now.
That's right. That's right.
So the importance of it is long, way past just doing good radio, because we do live streaming. My show is almost like watching Like It Is from the great Gil Noble. We have the technology to not only give you great radio, but visuals, video, YouTube, pictures. And guess what? We're going to end my show with a feature from the movie Selma, the trailer, because I want people to remember just how important the names of John Lewis, Julian Bond, Hosea Williams, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Lawrence Guyout. So roll that tape, Mel, and I want to thank you.
Let me just say real quick, because I
ahead.
just want to thank Francois for his wonderful and gracious endorsement of GoPro. But I think it's important to recognize that GoPro would not exist without his hard and dedicated work.
That's right.
I think a lot of celebrities, a lot of black businesses, a lot of just people in our community owe a debt of gratitude to the selfless sacrifice that you have made, sir. And I just appreciate you, and I can't express enough. Words fail when it comes to showing you, articulating, how we feel here at GoPro about the tremendous work and selfless work you've done on behalf of black people, and in fact, on behalf of all people on this planet.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
God bless you, my brother.
And I just wanted to reassure you guys, when I get off this phone, I'm going to make some personal phone calls.
Yes.
Because they got to come up with their $50 too. So
right.
they not doing it today, but they go
90 seconds.
All right.
Because if I can make it, they can make it. And I'm calling them, and I ain't asking, I'm telling them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Francois.
Thank you.
Mel, roll the tape. We're going out on a blast here from Selma. Enjoy this. Tylon, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Byron.
Thank you,
much,
Mel Alsop, my online engineer. Francois, I love you, my brother.
Yes, always, brother.
GoPro Radio.
60 seconds.
And the BCS Experience. Peace and love. See you next week.
on the fastest growing network in the galaxy.
He's got supporters.
Thank you.
Detroit, New York, Los Angeles, inciting large-scale arrests and sympathy marches.
I'm very aware of that, Mr. Hoover. What I do know is he's nonviolent. What I need to know right now, what's Martin Luther King about to do next?
Mr. President, Dr. King is here.
Mr. President, in the South, there have been thousands of racially motivated murders.
We need your help, Dr. King. This thing's just gonna have to wait. It cannot wait. You got one big issue, I got 101.
Somebody.
10 seconds.
Here is the next great battle.
Selma's the place, and they ready.
Dr. King.
I tell you, that white boy can hit.
It's 6 o'clock.
Agitators attempted to orchestrate a disturbance in this state. It is unacceptable that they use their power to keep us voiceless. Those that have gone before us say no more.
People actually say they're gonna kill our children. They're trying to get inside of
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Enough is enough. We built the path as we came, rock by rock. The sail is probably bugged. It probably is. We must march. We must stand up.
You march those people into rural Alabama, it's gotta be open season.
May I have a word?
There's no word to be had.
The people. The people. The people. The people.
There are 70 million people watching. These pictures are going around the world.
We must make a massive demonstration. White, black, and otherwise. Come to Selma.
I heard about the attack of innocent people. I couldn't just stand by.
Looks like an army out there.
This revolution goes on and on. This revolution goes on and on.
My eyes have seen the glory, glory, glory. Hallelujah.
What happens when a man stands up, says enough is enough?